Hello, entrepreneurs, dreamers, business owners, and happy people with high hopes. Welcome to Cashflows with your host, Cash Matthews.
All right. Hello, Cash Matthews here today, coming to you from the Cashflows podcast. Glad you're here. Hope you're glad you're here. We are here today with a couple of friends talking about life, the good life, and things that might make your life a little bit better, whether it's business or clothing. We're going to talk about clothing today, health or otherwise. We try to bring people in from the community that are doing things that might benefit you when you hear their story. And today we get to hear a story of a friend of mine from way back. We'll introduce Fowlkes here just in a few minutes. But first, Kenneth, how's your day, sir?
So far, so good. It's been a good one.
Yeah, everything's going pretty well?
Oh, yeah. Lots of fun in my world.
Okay, well, fun is a good thing. I mean, the year has changed and
It has.
lots going on.
It has turned right over to the next one.
Are you a beast this year?
Yeah, this is going to be my year.
Beast mode?
Yeah, beast mode.
Cool. I'm in more of like kitten mode.
Oh, wow.
Beast mode.
That's kind of low key then.
Oh, yes, that is. Okay, very cool. Well, so before we get into the show, last night I had some free time.
Right.
And I'd gone home and I was working on the old Commodore 64.
Okay.
And, I think you can hear the sound.
Yeah, you were just waiting for it to connect.
I was waiting for it to connect through the thing. And I'm glad you have a recording of this last night. I appreciate it.
I feel really triggered right now by the sound. I'm having some
this is
PTSD right now.
Absolute representation of what happened last night on the Commodore. And I had received, I don't know if you remember getting these AOL discs, but I had received one in the mail.
Right.
I think it had been delayed, but they went ahead and honored it. So I had an extra 27
nice
free minutes on AOL.
Yeah.
Commodore, AOL, I jump in. What am I going to do?
Yeah.
Yep, chat room.
Chat room.
I went into the chat room.
First try.
I got in first try. There were about, a couple of guys, my buddies from MySpace were on there.
Right.
And so we got on, and there was a fella there. And I don't want to say his name because I think he lied about it.
Yeah, we don't want to embarrass
I'll tell
him.
you off air. Well, it's an embarrassing name.
Oh, okay.
One of those. And but anyway, he saw me in there and he said, "Hey, I think Mr. Kenneth, don't you?" I'm like, "Yeah, good friends."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we live in a 4x4 closet 8 hours a day with each other. It's kind of weird, but
Kind of what it seems like.
why do you want to know? And he's like, "Well, I got a question for him. And I'd like, would you be willing to give it to him for me?" And I'm like, "Yeah, let me write it down." And so I've got it. I wrote it down and I'd like to read it to you.
If you would, please.
Okay, so here it is. Oh, I got it right here. This is the part that he wanted me to ask you was, "Hey, Kenneth.
Yes.
What's a guy like you doing in a nice place like this?"
Oh, man. Thank you, unnamed caller or unnamed writer, for writing into our show.
Yeah, he's a chatter.
Yeah, chatter. Thank you,
Yeah.
unnamed chatter, for this
Unnamed
this
chatter.
question. Yeah, no, I'm testing a new invention. I don't know if you knew I was an inventor as well.
No, tell me some more.
Lots of things that I do in my life, but I'm testing a new invention: invisible shoes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I kind of like that.
I don't know what that's going to do for the smell, but they are
Oh,
invisible. You can't
man.
see 'em.
Well, strange things are afoot here at the Cashflows.
Yes.
Okay. Now you see it, now you don't. I like that.
Yeah, that's right.
Okay, very cool. Well, hey, we're here at Cashflows today, and the purpose of this show is to help people move to the next step, the next rung of the ladder, the next thing on their list to do, with a philosophy called Fire, Aim, Ready. And in this world of entrepreneurship, way too many people get stranded and they never pull the trigger. Their life becomes one of ready, aim, 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 and they never pull the trigger. And so whether you're thinking about writing a book or writing a play or losing some weight or getting healthy or making some money or starting a business or making an invention, we think that you should just do something, because a poorly done something is way better than a perfectly done nothing. Fire, aim, ready. And today we have somebody in our audience and that is right here in the studio with us today, high atop the Elevate Coworking building.
Right.
I would like to introduce everybody to Fowlkes. Autumn, say hello.
Hello, Cash. Hello, Kenneth.
Oh, hello.
Our studio audience is in full agreement that
Right.
Autumn is in the right place at the right time. And Autumn is the curator, manager, president, and founder of Shop fashionrebels.com. We're going to dig into that in a few minutes as we begin to talk to Autumn about some successes that she's had and some tips that she has for entrepreneurs. But before we do that, we want to go into the Wayback Machine and say, hey, Autumn,
Yeah.
we met at this thing many years ago
So many years ago.
called the Bong.
We did.
The Bong was a hit.
It was a hit.
And
Absolutely.
we offered the Bong as a token of our appreciation to our friends.
And we appreciated it.
And it was a homegrown effort.
Oh my.
I've got a few more. I'll leave it at that. But Autumn, talk just for a minute about your experience at the Bong, at networking, how we met. Like we've known each other a long time.
We have. We actually met before my first son was born.
Right.
And he turns 11 next week.
Wow.
So it's been a minute.
Wow, that has been a minute.
It's like a good dozen years right there.
We're working on a dozen.
Yeah. We had found out we were pregnant and we wanted to make sure that we had the future secured for our little guy. And so we met you through the Solomon Group and you helped us get some things established, which was wonderful for our peace of mind. And then we found out that we also really loved mango salsa. So,
mango salsa, turning point.
Turning point in our relationship. I brought my husband along. He brought his wife. We did it at the office. We made mango salsa together. And from that moment on, we just were besties.
We'll always have mango
salsa.
Yeah, that was epic. And I remember getting through the first batch and requesting a second.
Yeah, we had to do the recipe all over again because you and my husband pretty much destroyed the first section that we created. So we did it again. Thankfully, we had enough ingredients. We did it again, and they enjoyed the beginnings of their bromance while I fell in love with his wife, and we haven't looked back since.
And we're still going. And
that's right.
Then you guys moved off to somewhere, and then you ended up in Oklahoma.
And you followed us here.
And we followed you.
And I got a phone call from your wife, and she said, "How would you feel if we moved too?" And I started screaming, and I was like, "I would feel so good. That would be amazing. Please come." And
we did.
And you did.
Yeah.
And now I get to go to the second iteration of the B.O.N.G, the Business Owners Networking Group, and meet some fantastic human beings.
Yeah, this is a pretty cool group.
You know, I feel like you and Katie are fantastic humans, and you tend to attract
Can you elaborate
what you
for 20
are.
minute on that? Like maybe just get on a loop and no, okay, don't actually do that.
No, you attract what you are, you know? And you have attracted some really, really neat humans.
Boy, this group has got, it's got
exploded,
some crazy,
but it's
cool people.
In a good way. It feels very organic. It feels very authentic. People actually care about each other, which is sometimes hard to find in a networking group.
That's hard to find in a church.
Well, yeah.
You know,
also,
that's a hard
people.
thing to find just about anywhere. Well, so we're going to talk to, and we worked up some questions beforehand.
Yeah, let's do it.
I'm pretty sure Autumn is going to win like the question of the year, International Podcast Association.
Yeah, I forgot about that award. That's coming up pretty quick.
Okay.
Yeah, that's February 30th.
Right.
At the Twin Towers downtown.
Yeah.
I thought it was at the Nakatomi Plaza.
Then it is at the
Well, that's the replay event.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, for people who missed it in
February
the first.
30th at the Nakatomi Plaza. Mm-hmm.
So before we dig in, just brief overview of your business.
Yeah.
ShopFashionRebels.com. Autumn Fowlkes at ShopFashionRebels.com. Autumn, what is this? Tell us what you got going on there. Don't give us the answer to the question because we want to ask that in the right way.
Oh, okay.
But you're in the clothing business?
I am.
Can we is that a good short sentence?
It's a good, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, but what I want to ask you then is describe in your own words what it is you do for work.
Cash Matthews, I prevent nakedness. And I'm real good at it.
Thanks for coming to Cashflows today.
All right, good show.
Good show,
Wow,
yeah.
Very nice. That's
brief.
our fastest one yet.
Did you get that as a clothing joke? Very brief.
Oh, hang on. We have a button for that.
Wow.
I prevent nakedness. I think that's a winning answer for everything we've done in the podcast industry since the late 50s, early 60s.
I'll take it. I'll take it.
Okay.
You know, it's kind of boring to tell people that you run an online clothing boutique or you run a boutique or you sell women's clothing. There's a lot of people that do that. Target does that.
Right.
But I prevent nakedness.
Right.
In women from sizes extra, extra small through 3XL, which means basically every woman. And I do it with comfort and style and fun, and it's all affordable and sustainable, and it's a beautiful thing. But mostly when people ask me, like, oh, who's your ideal customer? I usually say something like, anybody who doesn't want to be naked. Like, bring them to me. I can help them with that. That's my specialty.
Very cool. Well, and this is an interesting time for an online business.
Mm.
When the online thing first began, I couldn't imagine like shopping online. I was like, that isn't going to happen.
Mm.
How many of these, internets are they really going to need?
That'll
Like,
never
How
work.
many internets?
it's never going to happen. And then all of a sudden I've bought shoes online, things you would
Yes.
normally have to try
Try
on.
on. Mm-hmm.
And now there's billions of dollars a year spent in the clothing industry
Absolutely.
online. And so you've been able to capitalize on that.
Mhm.
So how did the online thing affect your decision to be in the clothing business?
Honestly, it was the number one reason I decided to
Right.
become part of the clothing business, because I started my business from a third-story tiny apartment with 2 little toddlers, and I needed that. I couldn't have a brick and mortar. I couldn't have people come to me because I was in a gated apartment in the middle of nowhere, Houston,
Mm.
and I needed it to be online. I needed it to be something I could do after my kids went to bed, during nap time. I needed that online option.
So the online option then, and I think not just for you, but for lots of people around the world,
Mhm.
has created a potential revenue stream without the traditional burden of going to a job.
Exactly.
Because I mean, if you
Exactly.
go work part-time at shave your head, go get a job 7-Eleven part-time.
Mm-mm.
I mean, how much, like the opportunity to work from home doing something that people are ready to buy with a company that's well known.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
these times are changing.
Yeah. And that's pre-COVID. COVID, I think the pandemic really helped even larger businesses understand that they could do so much more online with their employees.
Right.
But pre-pandemic, I saw the opportunity for myself as the mother of young children to be able to make full-time money, but do it from home.
Right.
And so the majority of my customers don't live anywhere near where I live. I ship to
Right.
them every Monday.
Every Monday you're shipping
I'm
out.
shipping stuff out. That's
Man,
what I do. It's been fantastic.
I think it's fascinating that this online thing that I now accept, by the way.
Oh, good.
Good.
Well, I've been on the chat rooms on the Commodore.
Yeah.
Right, right.
And
Don't
so
let anybody pick up the phone while you're online,
Right.
because
Here-
that
Yeah.
will ruin your
Yeah.
shopping experience.
I recall this being the case, but I I'm fascinated by business.
Yeah.
I love business. I love entrepreneurship. I love people that choose to do it. I want to dig in with them. How'd you do it? Like, I love it.
Okay.
And I'm looking at this and I'm seeing additional income opportunities. And we mentioned this today at a meeting that we were both at, is that this is the front line of American freedom and entrepreneurship.
Mm-hmm.
It's on us. This all starts with us.
Yeah.
About entrepreneurship. And it seems to me like what you do would be something that other entrepreneurs might want to do they call it a side hustle.
Yeah.
Side gig.
Absolutely.
So do people get involved in the clothing industry?
As a side hustle, absolutely.
Like, how tough can that be?
It's not.
Like, because everybody likes clothes.
Everybody likes clothes. Well, in my company, the brand that I have clothing wise in my boutique, because I do have hats and purses and things like that, and I get those from different wholesale places. But the brand that I chose specifically targets one of the least represented sizes in women in malls or strip centers, or even on Amazon. And that is the average American size for a woman, which is 14. And if you go into a regular mall, you're going to find Forever 21 and other places that are going to serve
14?
not age 14.
No, my
Size
pants are like
14.
a 36.
Men's sizing is different.
That's different. That's something else.
It's different.
That ain't right.
I know
Yeah.
it's confusing.
Well,
Right.
yeah, that's one of the things we're
Okay,
pushing
so
back
14
against.
is not the size. It's the size, but it's not.
It's just a number.
It's a number
Okay.
that they assign to certain women that are a specific inches around. But I don't know if you've ever met women, but
I've met women.
Yeah, there's not very many of us that
Couple.
are
Just
exactly
one or
the
two.
same.
Yeah.
So some of us are shorter, some of us are taller, some of us have more curves in specific places than others. Some of us have what we call problem areas that we like to kind of disguise. We don't want that to be.
This is that portion of the show where she's silently telling me to move on.
No, I'm just saying that the option of being able to sit in your home and shop is really comforting for a lot of women, because
Yeah.
if they go into a store and they can't try on anything because it's all too small for them, that's a very horrible way to feel.
Yeah, that's a tough way
It's
to go about it.
awful.
So
you
if
know?
they buy online, they've got like a return. You can
I
return
can do
them.
returns, but what I do is very relational versus transactional.
Right.
And so I like to think of my community of shoppers as my people. They are my people. They're my fashion rebels. We're all fashion rebels. We wear what we want. It's trendy and ish, but it's not like throwaway clothes.
Right.
So I'm looking for those women that don't love to go try things on,
Right.
which is a lot of women, no matter their size. It's really annoying.
Well, you start. I mean, it's tough. You drive there. You've got to go in. You've got to
You got to
go.
pick a bunch of stuff, take it in that little tiny cubicle room thing with that awkward mirror.
Right.
And then I always feel really bad that if I don't put them back on the hangers, because then
Oh
those
yeah.
people are
What's the
like,
rule on that?
yeah,
Oh, for sure.
Are we
yeah.
hanger putter backers?
We put her
we
hanger
put
backer
our
on
hanger
hers.
backers. It's
Yeah.
what we do. Yeah. So and then it's
Okay.
like double the time, and try and do that with a child. It's freaking
Help us.
Yeah,
obnoxious.
you can't put a child
You
on a
can't do
hanger.
it.
You can't.
Sorry, I hear the world differently than most.
Love that.
Okay.
So that's what I provide. And that was something I could do from that apartment with
To
those
me,
little kids.
honestly, to me, that's fascinating. I went to try to buy shoes the other day.
Mhm.
I know and I think most people know their size,
Yeah.
right? Like you can be honest online.
Yeah.
You know, I know how big around my pants are, how big my shoes are. I went to buy some shoes, and like, yeah, we just don't carry that many of those. You can find them online. And I'm trying to spend local money, and they were like, yeah, go to Amazon.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
and I don't know who else carries that particular shoe, but I wear a 10
Oh
and a
my
half.
goodness.
You know, I have a sound effect for that kind of a situation.
Let's bring it. Yeah,
That's a bad choice right there.
that's a bad
Mm-mm.
that's a bad choice.
Don't go back.
Anyway, I just think it's fascinating. And some people say, "Oh, shop local," and I want to shop local. You're local, but when I buy those shoes, I'm probably buying them from a local shop in, Kentucky. Or I don't know where they're coming from.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Wherever their
I'm
warehouse
just
is.
I'm fascinated by the idea that the shopping mechanism has changed.
Mhm.
We don't have to try every piece on. If it doesn't work, you can fix it.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive to me. And like that, if we were to describe a business opportunity, food, clothing, shelter, and shelter, I think, is clothing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shelter for your naked body.
Yeah, well,
That's
that's
true.
based on what you said. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's shelter. I mean, food, clothing, and shelter because we prevent nakedness.
That's
That's right.
right.
Yeah, that's the line of the year right there. That
Yeah.
that wins that wins. Okay, well let's talk about entrepreneurship.
Okay, let's do it.
I want to dig into that. You got a cool
Mhm.
business. I think we all agree on that,
Okay.
and I think you can help a lot of people both with clothing and do you have like a team? Can people join you? Can they be part of your group?
They can. They
Like
absolutely
not
can.
not just as a customer, but if they wanted to sell some stuff.
Yeah, I can sponsor people actually into what I do. And
Do they
I-
get a discount on clothing at that point?
oh, yes, they do. They
Okay.
pay wholesale for their clothing,
Oh,
and they can keep what they want.
Ooh.
How do you think I got these sweet
so
hats I've
that's
got
an
on?
example of one of your deals there, right?
Absolutely. I bought these from the wholesale store, and then they came to my house, and I opened them up, and I said, "That is mine. I am putting it in my closet right now.
Wow.
This is mine now.
This is mine
I
now."
own this.
Mine.
Every once in a while, we'll have like a unisex top, and I'll be like, "Okay, honey, this one's for you." And he's like, "Yes."
Cool.
So yeah, before
Very
it even
cool.
hits the airwaves, it hits my closet.
So you said you're living in an apartment.
Yeah.
You got the kids. People can't come to your apartment. This is right at the verge when you're becoming an entrepreneur.
Yep. That's 6.5 years ago.
Was that scary?
It was terrifying.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really was.
Like what? Tell me what's going on in your brain. Like you got kiddos in the house. You're
Well,
in an apartment. You're in Houston. That's terrifying.
I was all, yeah. I was hot all the time. Yeah, it was terrible. We had moved to Houston to support my husband's career.
Right.
And he was in the typical kind of career that you start, in the mailroom and you work your way up to VP's office or whatever. So he had this trajectory that he had to meet in order to be successful. And so we had to move to make that happen for him. Totally willing to do that. We did it, but there wasn't anything in that area for me to do that would also pay for childcare for 2 children.
Almost self-defeating to go get a job just to pay for childcare.
It was awful. We did the numbers several times, and I would have had an earning of about $2 an hour after a 40-hour week if
Wow.
I paid for childcare, because they're little. And
Yeah.
it's less when they're older, but when they're that little, it's expensive.
Sure.
So we talked about it, and I was like, you know what? I really want to do my own business. I love being my own boss. I am self-motivated. There are things I'm good at. There are things I'm not good at. I don't mind hiring people to do the things I'm not good at. I don't have a pride problem with that. So let's just give it a try. So we ran the numbers. At that point, it was a pretty big investment. Am I allowed to talk numbers on here, like
Yeah,
dollar
do whatever you
amounts?
want to do. It's
Okay.
your show.
1, 2, 3.
We used
Uh,
8 the other day.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
did.
okay.
8 was
Yeah.
a
All
big
right. Well, I'm
number.
going to go all the way up to 5,000.
That's a round
Oh,
number.
okay.
That's what I had to provide in order to start the business I started. Now it costs $500. But
You can
six and a
start a
half years
business for
you can
500.
start, yeah. If I sponsor someone, they can start it for $500.
Wow.
But I'm picky. I don't let anybody just sign up. They
Oh,
have
yeah.
to
Yeah,
they have to
that makes sense.
want to do it. So I invested $5,000 and got boxes and boxes and boxes of clothing sent to my house. And I bought hangers and racks, and that was it. And then I went live. Yeah. And I made my investment
So
back.
fire, aim, ready.
Fire aim ready.
All right.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. I did that for sure.
Yes.
So I made my investment back in the first 6 weeks. So that was fantastic.
Well, you're profitable 6 weeks in.
6 weeks in. Yeah. And that's not everyone's story, but I also.
But that's your story. We're here to get your story.
Thank you.
We only have room for
I will
3
say
people in the
that
room.
I feel like a lot of the networking experience I got from going to the Bong really helped me with that because I already knew how to network
Right.
because I had been a part of the Bong years before. And so I started out pretty strong and I've been consistent ever since.
That's
So,
that's not a story we get to hear very often. It's
yeah.
usually
No.
the 2, 3, 4 year story where we finally broke even and
Mm.
well, good on you. And so
Mhm.
how many years ago, when was it exactly that you got it going and like from break even to now, it was about 6 years ago?
I started in May of 2017. So that now,
Yeah. So
yeah,
6.5 years. All
six and a
right.
half
Wow.
years.
Pretty cool 6.5 year story.
Yeah.
Well, so now I know one of the things going on in your life is you guys have been a caregiver
Hmm.
for quite a while.
Yep.
And you're a mom.
Yep.
And you're a wife.
Yep.
And you run a business.
I do.
And you have friends.
I do.
Like you have this entire thing called a life.
I do.
You
story.
are like a complete entire person.
I am.
That is so amazing.
I know.
I love that about you. How do you balance that?
Oh, well, there's a lot of wine involved. No, I'm
Yeah.
kidding.
Wait, are you in that business too?
I wish I was. That'd be a great one. Okay, how I balance that, the answer honestly is a calendar.
Okay.
So I started with paper calendars and I use my calendar on my computer now for the most part.
Right.
But I balance things by blocking off time. So I have time blocked off for when it's just the family and I know I'm not taking business calls during that time.
Hmm.
I have time blocked off for business, whether it's actively being live on Facebook and selling or doing my emails, ordering, working out my profit loss for the week. I have things that I have to do consistently every week. And so I put those in blocks of time on my calendar.
Got it.
After 6.5 years, there's sometimes I don't even have to. Like my husband just knows it's Thursday night. Autumn's going live. She won't be available. It's Monday. Shipping is happening. She won't be available until the afternoon. So there are those things that are now so much part of our daily life that I don't have to write it down on the calendar anymore. But we were caretakers for his mother, my husband's mother, for 4 years. And she has an advanced stage of dementia. And so she's having to be cared for by professionals now.
Right.
But it was really hard at first to figure out how to balance that with still building my business.
Right.
And so I'll tell you honestly that sometimes just to keep her occupied, I would bring her in my boutique and have her open things. And I would just sit her in a chair and I would say, could you just open all these pairs of leggings for me and just lay them across this thing? And she, yes, I would love to. And she would
Yeah.
sit there with me and I would get my computer stuff done while she was opening things. And you can do that with, small children as well. Here's
Yeah.
a box of blocks. You only get about 15 minutes with small children.
Right.
But that's what I did. That's what I did for years.
Yeah, that's a great story. And there are people out there listening and watching today that maybe they have an excuse
Oh, yeah.
and you had in fact, we talked about this today. When your reason why to, if you have a reason not to, you
Yeah.
could have easily thrown in the towel.
Hmm.
But when your reason not to becomes your reason why to, I think things begin to change. I mean, you could have easily said, "Hey, I'm having to be a full-time caregiver.
Yeah.
I'm having to take care of my kids. I have a marriage."
Hmm.
It would have been very easy to quit. What kept you going?
Ooh, what kept me going? I mean, what makes us get out of bed and go to a 9 to 5 job? Like
Fear,
know,
loathing.
yeah. I was going more for paying bills
Oh,
and
okay.
not being homeless.
Right,
I view entrepreneurship as my job. I
right,
mean, I own it. I
right,
can do it or not do it if I want to, but it is my job. I want to be in all things consistent. So if I put something on a schedule, I'm going to do it.
right.
If I promise my customers that we're going to have a pajama party on Saturday night, we're going to have a pajama party on Saturday night. If I say we're going to have an open house, we're going to have it. So I feel like because I am a responsible person in general, my parents made sure that that happened. Um, I wanted to make sure that I extend that to my business. So I put it on the calendar. And the only thing that would stop me from doing something I've committed to is being sick. Genuinely, you can't
Sure.
control that, right?
Right.
Or a child or someone else sick. I did have a live scheduled one time and I ended up in the ER with a person who had 2 broken bones in their foot. So guess what? The emergencies happen. We rescheduled it for another night.
Right.
But I think just remembering that this is my job, this is how I reach my goals, this is how I feed my family. I was able to get us out of that apartment and into a house within 6 months of starting my own business.
Wow.
And then a couple years later, I was able to let my husband quit his job so that we could move back to Oklahoma and he could have a year off work. So those things are important to me. And because they're important to me, they're priorities. I'm going to make sure that they happen, which means I'm going to do my job.
Wow. That's a very cool story. Um, how do you define then? I mean, what's your definition of success? How do you define it? I think maybe I know, but I'd like to hear you say it.
Well, success is just the accomplishment of an aim or a purpose.
Right.
So you get to decide what success is. I get to decide what success is. You, listeners, get to define what success is.
I think that's beautiful that it's not one thing.
No,
It's
it's
not
not.
an amount. Early in
Mm-mm.
my own career, and I was broke like a joke.
Yeah.
And I was waiting tables and tending bar,
Okay.
doing whatever it took. But
Yeah.
I felt like a rock star. I felt like I was successful because I was on the path.
Yeah.
And just getting on the path sometimes, though,
Absolutely.
is the definition of success. It's because it's like vacation sometimes. Like it's like if I'm going off to Disney World,
Yeah.
those few minutes in the car to the airport, I'm just as excited because it's like I'm going to Disney,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
You feel it like you're headed
Yeah.
to a great destination.
Yeah.
Well, you have certainly done that, and we're going to take a quick studio break,
Okay.
and we're going to talk to our friend Kenneth over here to say thank you to some of our favorite sponsors.
Alrighty
Mr.
then.
Kenneth, you ready?
Sure. All right, so on today's list of sponsors, let's talk a little bit about yours truly, Kenneth B.O.N.G Photography. I'm here to help bring your awesome ideas to life. I specialize in helping businesses explode their online presence through professional photo, video, and virtual event production with a rapid turnaround. It's commercial photo and video services with a personal touch. Learn more at kennethbockham.com.
All right. Kenneth, thank you, by the way, for all the work you do here on this podcast. You
You're
do great
welcome.
work, and I know
Absolutely.
lots of people listening are probably trying to figure out how to create their own podcast. I hope they'll
Yeah.
reach out to you at kennethbockham.com.
Yes, sir.
Very good. Nice work, sir.
Thank you.
We are here today with Autumn Fowlkes, a longtime friend and the creator of shopfashionrebels.com, shopfashionrebels.com. Autumn prevents nakedness.
I do. Every
And
day.
she is building a business in the clothing industry. And man, we're excited to have you here today.
Thank you so much
This
for
this
having
is
me.
great stuff. I love it.
Yeah.
So we've talked a little bit about you building a team and people
Mhm.
coming in and maybe working in some kind of a part-time, self-designed life by design,
Mhm.
work optional life by design. I mean, work is optional for everybody, really. You can
True.
just go live under the bridge,
It's true.
Yeah.
but where they could really design their work life
Mm.
around an idea that's pretty universal: food, clothing, shelter.
Yeah.
And
It's a lot of freedom there.
that's the business you're in. Food's no fun to be in.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
And,
Just fun to eat.
Yeah, but you got to make a little money. And
That's true.
maybe not a good business. I don't know. So a lot of people out there at this time of the world, more and more people are leaving the corporate world.
They are.
And while it looks beautiful, it's a little scary.
Mm.
I mean, a lot of us get here by different avenues. What would you say to somebody thinking about departing the corporate world at this time? What advice would you give to that person?
I would tell them, first of all, you're going to have to change your mindset.
Okay.
So I would recommend listening to podcasts about entrepreneurs,
Yeah.
such as Cashflows. I would also recommend getting some audiobooks from the library by some of the most well-known entrepreneurs. They can Google that because everybody has different vibes that they like.
Sure.
When you're in the corporate world, your success is defined by your climb up the ladder. So when they talk about someone leaving the mailroom and ending up in the VP's office after 30 years, he is considered successful, right? If that was his goal.
Right.
But what if his goal was just to run the best mailroom he could run,
Right.
but always be at his kid's soccer game?
Yeah.
There it
You
is.
know, and always be able to take off the holidays and be with his family, or to run a marathon 3 times a year, or whatever his goal and accomplishment was. That's success for him.
Sure.
So I would say that if you're in the corporate world and you're thinking about doing something for yourself and starting a business, change your mindset, first of all. The second thing I would say is don't wait too long, because like you were saying earlier, like it's so easy to just plan and plan and plan and
Fire, aim, ready.
plan, and then eventually you die
Yeah.
and you never actually did what you were going to do.
Right.
Save up a couple months worth of income for your household and then just do it.
Go for it.
Just go for it.
You have to go for it or forego it.
There it is.
I made
Yeah.
that up.
That's
Thank
pretty
you.
good.
Yeah, that was a good one.
Yeah, so that's fire, aim, ready. It
Yeah.
really is.
Yeah,
I mean,
really
you
just, do
truly
it.
believe it, and you did it,
I did it.
and it worked.
It did.
And 6 weeks later, you're profitable.
Yeah.
And you're still going.
Yeah.
And your husband got to take a year off from
He
work.
did. And now he's in a completely different type of work environment, which he likes so much better.
Right.
And he is happier and he has his time back. And he's
Yeah.
not an entrepreneur. He doesn't have that vibe. He doesn't want to do that.
Sure.
He loves to go to work and then leave it at work.
Right.
And that's great for him. But that means I have a present husband, you know, when he's home. Sometimes he does have to put up with me being in the middle of something and being like, hold on, I got to order this. It's coming out right now.
Well, except
You know?
except for those few minutes where he has to look in the newspaper and see how the New York Giants did.
He does
You know,
keep track of that.
there's a little bit
Pretty
in there,
hardcore.
and then the
Yeah.
weeping and gnashing of teeth afterwards.
Oh, yeah. Last night he was so sad. He watched UT basically bomb it, and it
Oh,
was
yeah.
so sad for him.
Yeah, the University of Texas played somebody,
Somebody.
the other team, the,
Yep.
the green team.
The other
people-
team,
the
yeah.
green team.
I think were they green?
I think they were. I don't know. I wasn't really paying attention.
Okay. Well, I'm actually pretty interested in football, but if the Sooners aren't in it, like
Eh.
season's over with. Yeah.
Yeah,
Anyway.
Okay.
All right. Well, that's cool on you for doing that.
Yeah.
You can't get the time back.
Mm-mm.
You know, I've known your family since your children were born,
Yeah.
and you can't get the time back.
You can't.
You know, and I don't know if anybody listening ever feels that, but you can't get the time back.
Mm-mm.
You know, how will you, there's a line from The Matrix where one of the guys is talking to one of the other guys, and I think it's Morpheus talking to Neo, and he's like, how will you take the time if you, maybe I've got it wrong. How will you take the time if you can't make the time, or vice versa?
Yeah.
And he's really talking about a great life issue. It's a cool
Mhm.
movie, but he's talking about a life issue like, hey man, when are you going to do it?
Yeah.
When are you going to get around to it? When is it going to happen?
Right.
When are you going to fire?
If you think about the blue pill and the red pill,
Yeah,
corporate versus entrepreneur,
right.
I wanted to know. I wanted to know what it was like on the other side and if I could do it.
Yeah.
And I did.
And here we
And
are
here I
at
am.
the Cashflows podcast with
Yeah.
Autumn Folks.
Yeah.
ShopFashionRebels.com. That is graded. My problem with the blue pills, I thought it was like blueberry,
Ooh.
and the other one was going to be like cherry. I wasn't evaluating
Ah.
the choices.
You were probably
No.
watching while hungry. Is that
Yeah.
what you were doing there?
I was having popcorn the first time,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
first run through,
Okay.
and then on the 2nd through 10th run through, I was having popcorn.
Oh, so same thing.
Yeah, same kind of deal. But
Oh, okay.
great show, great reference.
Yeah, thanks.
So, how have you stayed profitable the last 6.5 years when everybody else has gone out of business, and so many changes have gone on in industry?
Hmm.
Like, how do you do that?
I would have to say there are two keys
Okay.
to that, to the success of staying profitable. Um, number one is going back to that word consistent.
Yeah.
Consistent. I am consistent. I have a schedule. I go live when I'm supposed to go live. I am consistently there for my customers. I have great customer service, but that's not all it takes. I consistently provide something valuable. I am consistent. And I think that that is key. It's easy when you're an entrepreneur, especially the first few months when you have all this free time and you don't have to be anywhere, to just say, I'll just do it tomorrow. Let's binge watch another show.
Yeah.
That's way too easy to do. So I did not want to be that person, and I wanted to be consistent. So I did that. I think consistency, number one. And then I think the other thing is being relational versus transactional.
Mm.
I can't sell ice to an Eskimo. I can't. You've heard that phrase about
Yeah.
that. Oh, he's such a good salesman. He can sell ice to an Eskimo. I can't do that.
Right.
I would say to the Eskimo, you know what? You really don't need this.
Right.
Like, just go around the corner and cut it up yourself. You don't need it. It's fine. Because I care about the Eskimo or my
Right.
customer, And so I prefer to have my business be relational. I really, truly care about the product that I have. I am passionate about, preventing nakedness. I am passionate about being comfortable in my own skin, no matter what my size is. I am passionate about feeling good in what I wear. And so I can bring that to my customer base. But I want them to know me and I want to know them. So where some people might just say, I'm going to sell you this vacuum, I'll see you in 5 years when that one breaks down.
Yeah.
I'm more like, well, what do you want to vacuum? Let's talk about your rugs. Let's talk about your drapes. What else can we help? How can I help you with that? You know what? If you don't need this, don't buy it. So it's not transactional. It is relational. And my ladies who are on my live with me, they know that I remember that their mom loves butterflies. So when I hold up this piece of clothing that has butterflies on it, I'm going to be like, Mary, your mom would love this. It's totally her size. Get it for her birthday. And they love that I know their names. I know their people. I know what they prefer. I think that I have triumphed where other people have gone out of business, because I do make it relational.
So honestly, you're like an online concierge personal shopper.
Yeah,
Like,
very much so.
yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
They don't do that for men, I don't think.
I think that there's probably something for you.
Blue jeans, blue shirt, tennis
Yeah.
shoes or hiking boots. Tennis shoes or hiking boots.
It's more like a coin toss for us.
Yeah, I heard one of the comedians say that. And it was pretty funny. Well, I bet it's awesome. Like, what's it like when somebody joins your team and they make a paycheck? Like for the first time in their life, something worked.
Oh, they usually kind of freak out a little bit.
Yeah, what's that
Yeah,
like?
that's a really good feeling, actually. I've had some people who joined as a hobby.
Right.
They're really just in it for the free clothes. And so that person I have to motivate and be like, hey, you gotta sell some stuff. You can't just buy stuff. You gotta
Right.
sell stuff too. Let's make it a hobby that pays for itself, okay? Which is awesome. And their partners usually love that too. Like, oh, a hobby that pays for itself. It'd be like getting paid to go golfing, Like, wouldn't that be amazing?
Ooh, I think you got Cash's attention right
If
there.
you arrived at the golf course and someone said, here is $200, thank you for coming. You'd be like, yep, doing that again next week.
All
So they
right.
feel
Show's
good
over.
about it. I didn't say I was offering that cash. I'm
No.
just saying it's that
If.
same feeling. Something about women that I know, because I am one, is that we do love to shop, and we love to shop in packs. One year,
Okay.
my sister and I actually FaceTimed each other from 2 different states and went Black Friday shopping and bought the same microwave that was on sale. She bought it from her Target, I bought it from mine, and we just FaceTimed and walked around the Target together and showed each other candles and things, and we ended up buying the same microwave because we wanted the experience of shopping together. And so that's one of the things that our group does, is we do shopping together.
We
It's
should
fun.
do that sometime. Go shopping together.
You
Yeah, sure.
should. You totally should.
I'll schedule that.
Yeah.
February 30th. Second Tuesday of February 30th.
Sounds good.
Okay, I'll meet you there.
We could start at a coffee shop though. That'd be a good place to go shopping together. We could, and
We
then
start there?
escalate from there.
Escalate to
Okay.
barbecue,
Yeah.
and then
Well,
Exactly.
so
Yeah.
let's get to the advice section of this. If you could go back 6.5 years and meet Autumn from 6.5 years ago, knowing what you know now, the
Yeah.
success you've had now,
Mhm.
the brand you've built now, what would you tell Autumn from 6.5 years ago?
I would tell Autumn to get a bookkeeper a lot quicker than
Oh.
I did.
Okay.
I realized early on that there were some things I was real bad at, and dealing with bookkeeping and taxes and all of that is not my fun times. I don't
Right.
enjoy that at all. So outsourcing that to someone who loves that has changed my life, and
Yeah.
definitely every January and February I am not stressing out trying to get all the stuff for my taxes together.
Right.
So I would tell her to just, soar with your strengths, girl. Get somebody who likes to do that. So I found a woman who loves numbers and bookkeeping and Excel spreadsheets, and she does my bookkeeping.
Well, that is
every week.
awesome.
I love it.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
We're talking to Autumn Fowlkes with shopfashionrebels.com, and we're going to ask her for a nugget of advice here. Was that your nugget right there? Get a bookkeeper? Is that
That's
the
a
biggie?
pretty good one. That's a pretty good
Yeah, I
one.
mean that's
Yeah.
about as good as it's going to get. Okay,
Yeah.
you want to play some rapid fire?
Sure.
This is new. This is a new segment called Rapid Fire.
Oh, I didn't have any game show music ready.
That's all right. You want to hum
I could
something?
just say.
There you
Okay,
go.
all right, we just regressed right there.
Wow.
I think we just lost one listener down in Shawnee.
Yes, but only one. I mean, I
Only
think
one.
we're on a good.
The
we're on
rest
a
of
good-
them joined in. They were
Okay.
joining in.
Well,
they were helping
anyway.
us out.
All right,
Hmm
rapid fire. You ready? We need to come up with a name for rapid fire questions.
Ladies and gentlemen, this segment is rapid fire.
Okay, we'll go with that for now.
Okay. Well, but okay, cash flow, right?
Right.
What's something that's fast? Cash,
I got
Cash
nothing.
money.
cash, ATM withdrawal. I mean, that's instant cash, right?
All right, we'll
Okay.
figure the name out later.
Instant cash.
Are you ready for action?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay, favorite BMX racer from Shawnee, Oklahoma.
Cash Matthews.
Okay, good answer. Favorite color,
Turquoise.
shoe size,
8.5.
beverage you cannot live without,
Coffee.
and does it have chocolate with it at times?
Always.
Always.
Mocha.
Okay, sunrise or sunset?
Sunset. Oh, I'm not getting up that early.
Okay, all right, cool. Dog or cat?
Yes.
Ooh, okay, meow.
Woof.
You've got $1,000 gift card to a brick and mortar store. What
Yeah.
store is it?
IKEA.
Okay.
I can spend so much money there.
Yeah, I kind of like IKEA.
It's so clean and beautiful and organized.
And the meatballs.
And the meatballs.
I could
oh
go.
my gosh.
I
the
could go a
Swedish
grand on the meatballs. Okay.
Absolutely.
Hey, we're doing quick here.
Oh, sorry.
Who would you want to be stuck on a deserted island with?
Somebody who's a really good swimmer.
There's so much in that. Like, wouldn't they leave you? Okay. Anyway, that's fine. Something that would surprise our listeners to know about you.
I can milk a goat dry in 5 minutes flat.
Wow, that was unexpected.
Okay. Wow. Okay. Like,
I was not ready for that.
I was raised on a farm, y'all. I would say probably more seriously, I lived in India for 2 years.
wow.
I lived in the Philippines for 1 year. And so it has been very important to me that the place that I source my clothing from, which has international places where they get their fabric from and their clothing sewn, because I don't actually sew the clothing, 'cause
Right.
that would be a disaster. That would cause nakedness if I sewed it.
Right.
They are very responsible, sustainable, and they make sure that the people who make our clothing have the lowest work hours in the country, the highest paid. They spend time with their families. They can bring their kids to work if they want to, but children do not work in the factories. So that was really important to me. Having been overseas and seeing people taken advantage of in that way,
Yeah.
it was important to me to make sure that I sourced my clothing from a place that was responsible.
All right. Very cool. Autumn, we are so glad you came by Cashflows today.
Thank you for having
And
me.
what a great guest. She's milked a goat and
Yeah,
prevents nakedness.
I do.
yeah.
All right. Well, you about ready to wrap this up?
Yeah, I think, well, our studio audience wanted to say thank you for playing Rapid Fire.
Rapid fire. I like it. I think you were 10 for 10. And what's her prize?
You've won
A wheel of cheese.
a podcast episode or something.
All
I
right.
don't know.
Well, Kenneth,
I'll take it.
let's wrap this up. First, I want to say thanks to our sponsors who have graciously provided us a venue and a way that we can go build this thing. Kenneth Bauckham Photography and Video, CM Customs, who provides our signage and many other things in the local Tulsa community. Lori Zeller here at Elevate Coworking. We appreciate you and all that you do to keep this show breathing. And until our next show, go out in life and make good choices, make good friends, be nice to each other. And just today, maybe today, find one person who absolutely does not deserve forgiveness. Forgive them
Mm,
anyway, because forgiveness is never for the person we forgive.
love
It's
that.
always for ourselves. And what a way to lighten the load and make the world a better place. You want to make the world a better place? There's your tip for the day. So, Kenneth, I want to say goodnight to our 4 listeners over in Shawnee, Oklahoma. Man, they are doing us right and chatting us up big on the Commodores. And to the 3 of you, our buddies, Ernie the second, and Marco, we are so glad that you guys are liking our posts on a daily basis, that we want to take you out tonight to the Quick Trip. Beef jerky's on sale 2 for 1, and we'll meet you over there. We'll see you just in a little bit. Thanks for being here. Have a great day.
That's our show for today. Stay tuned for another riveting edition of Cash Flows.